My third question is Tangha Pachaya Upadanang is the eighth line in the law of dependent origination. Paticca Samuppada. Explain this term. So, Tangha Pachaya Upadanam is the eighth link in the standard 12 link formula of dependent origination in the forward manner. Avijja to Sankhara to Vijnana, Nama Rupa Salayatana Phasa, Vedana Tangha Upadana, Bhava Jati Jara Maranam, Jara Maranana. Jara Marana, sorry. The immediate dynamic is feelings, conditions, craving. When craving is not understood, it conditions clinging. So clinging then conditions becoming, setting up birth and suffering. So Tangha, the meaning of Tangha is craving, thirst. It is yearning for pleasant experiences to become something or to end unpleasantness. It corresponds to the six sense objects. There are six kinds of craving. Craving for physical objects, sounds, odor, bodily impressions, and mental impressions. Craving of the three kinds are Kama Tangha, Bhava Tangha, and Vibhava Tangha. Pachaya means condition for or support for. It indicates the causal dependence, not a first cause. The word Pachaya highlights a principle of specific conditionality, ida Pachayata. It is not that craving becomes clinging, but the craving acts as a necessary condition for clinging to arise. This understanding allows the possibility of breaking the chain. Upadana means clinging, appropriation or view taking. It is regarded as a false view, michya. It is active grasping that tightens craving into possession, and one subsequently attaches oneself to the constant cycles of life, death, and rebirth. Upadana. There are four kinds of clinging. Kamu padana, clinging to the sense pleasures. There is intense desire for pleasures of the sense, which may include all temporal enjoyments. Ditu padana, clinging to views, opinions, or ideologies. Dogmatic belief in morally harmful faiths such as nihilism, atheism, or fatalism regarding beings and the universe. Third, silabatu padana, clinging to rites and ceremonies. Perverted belief in the efficacy of rites, rituals, and ascetic practices of heretical groups as means of purity and liberation. The last attavadu padana, clinging to doctrine of self, identifying with body, feelings, perception, formations, consciousness, the five aggregates with the enduring self. The text gives 21 types of personality views relating to the five aggregates. So Upadana reinforces karma to generate future birth through volitional actions. How craving conditions clinging? By intensification. Craving is a felt pull. Clinging is a handhold closing around the object. With repetition and delight, craving hardens into possessiveness and identifications. It is mine, I'm this, I'm that. I'm this is myself. So second is a few metaphor. Clinging means still. Craving means craving seeks fuel. Clinging takes it up, feeding the fire of becoming. For example, a pleasant sound sada arises. Tangha is the initial moment of liking it, the pull to hear it again. Upadana is then turning up the radio, playing the song and mentally replaying it, thinking, I love this song. This is my favorite song. The initial pull has now become a grasping. The work of dependent origination. Dependent origination postulates that all world phenomena are interrelated, interdependent, and nothing exists in absolute isolation. The forward order norma of dependent origination stipulates that the existence or arising of one factor conditions the existence or arising of another. The reverse order Patiloma of dependent origination stipulates that the non-existence or disappearance of one factor conditions the non-existence or disappearance of another. Thus, in the reverse order, Vedana Nirodha Tanha Nirodho, with the cessation of feeling, craving ceases. Tanha Nirodha Upadana Nirodho, with the cessation of craving, clinging ceases. Upadana Nirodha Nirodho, with the cessation of clinging, becoming ceases. The working of reverse order. Pleasant, unpleasant, or neutral feeling arises when there is a contact coming together of the base object and consciousness associated with the sense base. When one is mindful of the feeling upon contact, one is not to be attached to the feeling bond of the six sense bases. Hence, it undercuts craving before it matures into clinging. That is the cessation of feeling. When the cessation of feeling, with the cessation of feeling, craving ceases. Vedana Nirodha Tanha Nirodho. If one is not mindful and attached to the feeling, then craving arises. Within craving and clinging, there's often seeking. Pariyesana and appropriation adana. Not every pulse of craving becomes clinging if mindfulness cuts the chain. This means if one is mindful, one can address the craving before it matures into clinging. That is the cessation of craving. With the cessation of craving, clinging ceases. Tanha nirodha, upadana nirodho. With the cessation of clinging, there's no more active karmic force, becoming ceases. Upadana nirodha bhava nirodho. With the cessation of becoming, there's no birth and one is free from the rounds of suffering. The link of dependent origination to the Four Noble Truths. The entire chain of dependent origination is a detailed elaboration of the second Noble Truth, origin of suffering, and the third Noble Truth, cessation of suffering. The link perfectly illustrates the heart of the Buddha's teaching. Tanha, the origin of suffering when matured, leads to upadana, which fuels the entire cycle of suffering. Its cessation, as shown in the reverse order, is the very realization of Dhamma. Tanha, the origin of suffering, when matured, leads to upadana, which fuels the entire cycle of suffering. Its cessation, as shown in the reverse order, is the very realization of Nibbana, the end of suffering. So the conclusion, Tanha Pachaya Upadana means craving if entertained conditions, clinging, grasping the aggregates, views, rights or self. This grasping feels becoming and suffering. We must train at the critical juncture of feeling and craving. By applying mindfulness, wisdom, and compassion at these two links, we can prevent craving from maturing into clinging. When clinging does not arise, there's no fuel for becoming, and the cycle of birth and suffering is brought to an end. These are the references. Any question?
Okay, good. Anybody want to add on?
Yeah, can I just mention, because just now I think in the Patana, it mentioned about existence and disappearance. But in your slide, you put there the Patiloma. You reverse your slide.
I reverse
Or your Patiloma there.
I
You
don't know
reverse
how
your
to
slide.
reverse. Wait,
You scroll your
I don't know where's the slide now.
Now you are at the reference.
Okay. Is it
You
here?
scroll up.
Okay.
Okay. The reverse, come down again, another slide. Okay. Up a bit.
Up.
Okay. The reverse order Patiloma stipulates that non-existence or disappearance of one factors. But from just now, our class on non-existence and disappearance is very different from cessation. But in the reverse order is actually the cessation factors, the cessation condition leads to the cessation of the next factor. So non-existent and disappearance doesn't mean it's equal to cessation, right? That's the way I understand that.
Non-existent doesn't mean cessation.
Yeah, because if
Okay.
the condition is not there, it doesn't exist. Does it mean that there's a cessation? No.
Okay.
So because it can be misinterpreted that non-existent, or then it's actually the reverse order.
Okay.
But you have to
Okay.
actually purposely encourage the cessation to happen. When the
Okay.
phenomenon arises, then only it can happen.
Okay, Ken. Okay lah. Your point is more valid lah. Yeah, non-existent doesn't mean cessation lah. Okay, agree lah.
Okay,
Okay.
thank you.
Thank you. Wait lah. Wait lah. I'm
No more,
not so good at
no
this
more
thing
next
lah.
one.
No more.
So now Sister Pegland again.
Okay, my question is year 2025, question 6. Complete the following stanza from Dhammapada and describe them in your own words. The first one is Katadino Visokasa. The second one is Na Atalike Na Samudamaje. So the first one, the whole thing is actually Gatadino Visokasa Vipamutasa Sabadi Sabaganta Pa Himnasa Parilahu na Vijati. The meaning is actually this verse describe a person who is finished with his journey of suffering, that is already finished his samsara journey, free from sorrow and attachment, has cut off all his mental knots, that is craving, ignorance. Now, so he asks him to describe in my own words. So it's actually talking about someone who has fully let go of all inner burdens. They are no longer stressed, attached, or disturbed by anything, completely calm and free inside. Then the second one is Na Atalike Na Samuda Maje Na Pabatanam Vivaram Pavisa Na Vijatiso Jagati Padiso Yatatitam Napasa Heya Machu. The meaning here, the verse says, there is nowhere you can escape death, not in the sky, ocean, or even hidden in the mountain. So to describe in my own words, no matter where you go or hide, you cannot avoid that. It's a natural part of life that applies to everyone. So the overall the idea for the first verse is actually freedom from suffering is possible. And the second verse is, but that is unavoidable. So actually, if we to put together these two Dhammapala, it means we cannot escape death, but you can free your mind from suffering before that. I think that's all. Very simple. Thank you.
But Sister Pegland, in the exam, you write like this can get 20 marks.
I think
Like very short, leh. But of course, I have to remember the whole thing is very difficult lah. That's why I usually don't do Dhammapada. But I think your writing is a bit short. No
I
need to
don't know
tell
what
the story.
Brother Cole will tell. So that's all, my one. Simple and sweet and simple, Brother Lau.
I don't know, because to me, I think you may have to put in some effort on the Pali words. I mean, that's my way of looking at it. At least put in some effort on the Pali words, and then only you translate it. You may not need to explain all the Pali words, but those words that we are familiar with.
Yeah, but okay. But actually, our okay lah, maybe you're right lah. But actually, when I look through our own Dhammapala, actually they don't describe a lot also leh.
Yeah, it's true.
The
But I
Dhammapala
think,
stanza.
but if you look at the spirit of the YMBA, why they ask the Pali, using Pali is to encourage us to learn Pali.
Mm,
So if we cannot explain the Pali meaning, how do you translate the phrases?
Oh, I will not choose Pali question.
No, what I'm saying is
Yeah, I
the
get what you mean. I
the
get what you
spirit of
mean.
the question.
Yeah, I got limited question to answer.
I also will avoid Pali. Because,
I got limited. I cannot answer Pali.
no. But because it's an
Ah,
assignment,
yes.
so normally assignment we can put it a little bit more effort lah. But of course,
Uh,
when it comes to actual answering, we might not be able to answer the way we do our assignment, you see. But at least that is a beginning, you see.
yeah.
So whatever we can remember, we just write lor. We may not reproduce on our assignment,
Okay lah.
but
Because
then
I was actually looking at the stanza, the Dhammapala chapter 9. Then I realized that actually they don't also explain a lot, but maybe yes lah.
so
Okay.
the second part is maybe as what Sister Chayun say. In your own words, that you can
Describe more.
explain, you describe already, then
Mm.
maybe you can say
Exaggerate a bit lah.
the storylines that you remember maybe in the commentary, Dhammapada commentary, the story behind
Okay.
at least you have more words, so to justify. You see, you have two components here, so that means each one has 10 marks,
Yeah, the two components.
How do the examiner give you 10 marks? If based on your work like that, you think they will give you 10 marks or not?
Yeah,
No,
for two
if she can produce the Dhammapada in whole phrase, right? The examiner will be quite impressed lah.
Yeah, I agree. You can put the translation, and then after that a few of your words that will give you. I believe they'll give you the passing mark lah, but you have to increase the mark, you see, so that they can give you more marks, ma.
Okay.
I send a copy of mine to you
Okay.
people. Should not be too simple. That one won't get you mass mark. So you just look at the sample I give to you.
Okay.
Brother Lawa, that is the distinction one.
Correct.
So okay, so
I think Brother Lau, you can teach the degree holders or the MA already.
Actually, he is more of the master degree right now because he got
Yeah.
the process of analysis and then how you apply it.
Yeah, how to write it properly, polish the way you write. I mean, I think Brother Lau has a way to produce the assignments in a good way.
Good afternoon, Teacher Lau and fellow Kalanikas. Today is the 22nd of March, 2026. So it is part of the YMBA Diploma Assignment 6 for IB Dhamma. The question is from 2025 YMBA Senior 2 Dhamma papers, and is on question 8. So the question is write short notes on any of the 4 of the following, but do all the following 6 of it. A is the cause of suffering. B is anicca, impermanence. C vipassana bhavana. D is right effort. E dhammapada, and F is self-indulgence. So we'll go to the first one, the cause of suffering. These are the short notes question. So suffering could be from the physical body, mental, and or both physical and mental. To a layperson, suffering normally relates to not getting what one wants or wishes, physical pain and diseases, as well as mental distress. Thus, people will go to the doctors, be it medical or traditional practitioners, to get rid of those symptoms. However, in the Buddha Dhamma, Buddha taught us to know and experience the underlying and root causes of sufferings. Only then could one eradicate those causes. In Dhammacakkappavattana Sutta, or SN Samyutta Nikaya 56 and Sutta 11, the Buddha's first discourse, he revealed the Four Noble Truths. In the second Noble Truth, the cause of suffering given is craving, tanha in Pali. In other sutta, craving is threefold, namely sensual craving, craving for existence, and craving for non-existence. Independent arising, or DA in short, in Pali is paticca samuppada, feeling conditions arising. Feeling conditions craving, I repeat, feeling conditions craving, craving conditions clinging, clinging conditions becoming, becoming conditions birth, and birth conditions aging and death. And with aging and death, it comes together along with sorrow, lamentation, pain, grief, and despair. Sorrow, lamentation, pain, grief, and despair are visible manifestations of human sufferings or a being suffering. Thus, the direct and immediate cause of suffering is birth, jati. While the indirect causes are craving and clinging, tanha and upadana. And the latent or root cause is ignorance, avidya. So craving fueled by ignorance leads to misperceiving phenomena as permanent, pleasant, self, and beautiful, contrary to its nature and characteristics. This leads to the idea or concept of I and this is mine, which then leads to liking and disliking, followed by craving and clinging, and thus ultimately sufferings. According to dependent arising in the suttas, due to ignorance and unwise attention, when feeling arises, one craves and clings to. However, in other suttas, for example, Vipassi Sutta and Gautama Sutta, when one observes mindfully with wise attention, maintaining objectively, one could see the phenomena as it is, its nature and characteristics. Thus, the reverse or the cessation of dependent arising is possible, breaking the dependent arising cycle. That's why practitioner is encouraged to be mindful and with wise attention, observes the arising of feeling as a natural phenomenon, objectively and without any reaction. This will break the link of feeling conditions craving, thus preventing the arising of craving, which is one of the root causes of suffering. B, anicca, or impermanence. In the Buddha Dhamma, it refers to the ever-changing nature, the arising and ceasing, the inconstant, the non-permanent nature of all conditioned phenomena. Phenomenon arises and ceases. It comes and goes away. It appears and disappears. It arises because the conditions are there, and it ceases when the conditions are not there. That's why phenomenon is called conditioned phenomenon, in Pali Sankata. Therefore, it is stressful and painful when one tries to grasp or own it, as it cannot be owned, ordered, or controlled. Anicca is one of the three key characteristics of conditioned phenomena. The others being dukkha and anatta. In Anatta Lakkhana Sutta, Samyutta Nikaya 22.59, it states that when one sees anicca, it will lead to nibbida, or disenchantment or disillusion. Then followed by viraga, fade of desires, and then finally vimutti, release, free, or freedom. Hence, in the Buddhist spiritual practice, observing, learning, and understanding anicca is crucial and is a key component to the understanding of nature that will lead to the realization and attainment of liberation and nibbana. The C, Vipassana Bhavana, this is the third subtopic. Vipassana Bhavana is a mental cultivation whereby the meditator or the mind observes objectively the phenomenon as it is, its nature and characteristics such as it arises and ceases. Thus, knowing, understanding, and learning the phenomenon, its characteristics, the causes and conditions for its arising and ceasing will lead to vision and wisdom. During the Buddha's time, there were already different meditation techniques, especially samatha bhavana, concentration meditation, which lead to the mental states of calm, peace, and quietness. Buddha realized, introduced, and then later complemented this samatha bhavana with vipassana bhavana. As vipassana bhavana is the way that leads to insight, higher knowledges, and wisdom. In the Mahasatipatthana Sutta MN10, Buddha taught how to observe the body, the feeling, the consciousness, and the Dhamma as it is and objectively, especially the three characteristics of conditioned phenomena, namely impermanence, suffering, and non-self. And such insights could lead to the attainment of liberation or enlightenment. This is Vipassana Bhavana. It is necessary to have certain degree of concentration before one could practice and attain the relevant insight knowledges. Thus, in the sutta, there are various combinations of practices, such as concentration meditation follows with insight meditation. Insight meditation follows with concentration meditation, and or samatha together with vipassana, that means simultaneously. Both meditation methods, there is samatha and vipassana meditation, have their strength and importance, and when they are well utilized, each complementing one another to achieve the desired goal, that is, in Buddhism, liberation from suffering and the attainment of enlightenment. So the fourth subtopic is right effort. In daily life, we need to use and apply efforts. There are mundane efforts and supramundane efforts. Mundane efforts are required for one to learn, cultivate, and master skills. Supramundane efforts or right efforts are specifically for spiritual cultivation, such that it will lead to liberation and nibbana. In the Dhammacakkappavattana Sutta, the Buddha taught the Four Noble Truths, of which Fourth Noble Truth is the Noble Eightfold Path. In this Noble Eightfold Path, one of the factors is right effort, Samma Vayama. In Padana Sutta, Anguttara Nikaya 4.13 and Samvara Sutta, Anguttara Nikaya 4.14. Right effort is defined as fourfold, namely, 2 efforts against unwholesome states, that is, the effort to stop the arisen unwholesome, the effort to prevent the unarisen unwholesome from arising, and two efforts for the wholesome states. That is, the effort to arouse the unarisen wholesome state and the effort to sustain the arisen wholesome state. Right effort, together with right mindfulness, samasati, and right view, samadhi, are crucial components for spiritual cultivation and vipassana bhavana. In Mahaparinibbana Sutta, DN 16, in the 37 factors of enlightenment, right efforts appears in 6 out of the 7 groups, totaling 9 times. This indicates the importance of right effort in the spiritual cultivation and the attainment of liberation. So the 5th subtopic is the Dhammapada. In the Pali Tipitaka, there are 3 baskets, or called Pitaka, namely the code of conduct or training basket called in Pali Vinaya Pitaka, the discourse basket Sutta Pitaka, and the higher teaching basket Abhidhamma Pitaka. In the Sutta Pitaka, there are 5 collections called Nikaya. The 5th collection is called Miscellaneous Collection or Khuddaka Nikaya. The Dhammapada is one of the books in this 5th collection, Khuddaka Nikaya. So in the Dhammapada, there are a collection of 432 short verses or phrases. These verses are classified and grouped into 26 topics. For example, they classify as under pairs. That means 2 phrases as a group. Religions, mind, fools, and even the Buddha, bhikkhus, and Brahmins also. These verses captured the essence of many Buddha's key teachings. Many practitioners use them as recollection tool and for spiritual practices as well. Nowadays, in most Dhammapada books, there are the verses and the storyline. These verses are believed to be the words of the Buddha. For the storyline, or what we call sometimes commentary, describe the background's condition or situation, and were believed to be later compilation by elders or the Theras, because it is to help readers better understand the context of the verses. Some of the popular Dhammapada verses are like, mind is the forerunner, mind is chief, Dhammapada 1, and subsequent phrases as well. And be an island to yourself in Dhammapada, verse 236. Okay, the 6th subtopic is self-indulgence. So let me clarify. I forgot about the Pali words in this question. I thought it was self-indulgence, so I based my answers on self-indulgence. So indulgence means it is engrossed in it or excessive doing, like being addicted. For example, alcohol addiction or drug addiction. In Buddhism, indulgence refers to extreme liking, desires and craving, all combined. In the sutta under dependent arising, DA in short, Paticca Samuppada in Pali, it is labeled as clinging, upadana. It arises from liking and then desires, lobha. Next, it conditions the arising of craving, tanha, which then condition clinging, upadana, or indulgence. Clinging means holding tightly on it and not letting it go. refers to something permanent, eternal, fixed, like a soul or a spirit in the theistic religions and Western cosmology. In the sutta, it is called atta. Hence, self-indulgence refers to the indulgence that revolves around the self. Independent arising, it is one of the four clingings, that is, the clinging to a self, attavada upadana. It believes that there is a permanent self, there is an I, you, others, etc. Things that belong to me is mine, to you is yours, etc. Thus, self-indulgence is a concept of the mind that to make the I happy, satisfied, and saturated, to achieve this, it has to satisfy the senses. That is the five physical senses, eye, ear, nose, tongue, and body, as well as the mental or the mind sense. Thus, sensual pleasures may be the objects. Others could be views and rites and ceremonies. Because of self-indulgence, one will act or do. Independent arising, clinging conditions becoming bhava or karma bhava, a potential of being or karma, which then conditions birth. Then it follows by aging and death, sorrow, pain, and all kinds of suffering as a package. In Dhammacakkappavattana Sutta, it implied self-indulgence, just like sensual indulgence, as base, vulgar, worldly, ignoble, and profitless. And in other suttas, it seeks to sustain the cycle of sufferings and the samsaric cycle. That's the end of my presentation. Thank you.
Okay, thank you.
Any comment?
Good lah. So far, your one less comment compared to the others.